The state parks in Wisconsin highlight unique geological features, historic significance, or cultural significance to the areas they reside. They also provide educational opportunities for people of all ages to learn about these unique features through self-guided tours or volunteer-provided events in the parks. Today, we are visiting Point Beach State Forest in Manitowoc County. The major geological features of the park are the forested ridges and sand dunes, which parallel the park's shoreline on Lake Michigan. The location also hails historic value with its lighthouse and connection to the Works Progress Administration. Plus, the site is enjoyed all summer long due to the beach that stretches the entire length of the park. Welcome to the Wisconsin State Parks. This park is a little further away from the most populated areas in the state, so I had to drive across the farmlands of Wisconsin to reach it. The main attractions to Point Beach State Forest are the beach, camping, hiking and biking, and diving to any of the 7 shipwrecks offshore. Not to mention, it is along the Lake Michigan State Water Trail. After entering the park, you might be able to find a spot for your car, but don't count on it. It's a very small parking lot. This is where you would walk out to the lighthouse or jump on some trails. On the right, there will be multiple parking areas for access to the beach. Along the left, you would find the camping sites. At the north end of the park, take a right to the last parking area, the Lodge and Nature Center. This is where we will start our exploration, looping around north of the park entrance. You won't be able to miss the building on the north end of the parking lot. This is the Lodge. Built in 1938, it was designed to provide concessions and shelter, which it still does. The work involved with making Point Beach a viable state park was done under the Works Progress Administration, designed to employ those who could not find work due to the Great Depression. Improvements to the park included bringing in wood from Rhinelander, stone from Gibson, and masons from Sturgeon Bay. The history of the park is outlined outside the lodge, along with a simple brass sculpture in honor of those who assisted building the park. Today, the lodge provides park goers with a few basic supplies if forgotten. It also has a snack stand if you get a bit parched or hungry, along with sitting areas inside and outside. Around the lodge, you can find a demonstration of conservation with its rain garden. If you or your children love bugs, butterflies, and bumblebees, take a moment to enjoy. Nearby the lodge was once a great launching point for kayaks to hop on the Lake Michigan State Water Trail, but it seems to currently be in a bit of disarray. Hopefully, such a wonderful launch can be rebuilt for future use. This part of the park has a bit of a different shoreline than the rest. It was feared that rising waters in the lake would potentially damage nearby structures, so a riprap was installed in 1975 to keep that from happening. Today, the shore is protected with a more decorative-looking arrangement of concrete slabs. Be careful when you transition from the parking lot to the beach area. There is no defined set of stairs or railings to assist you. If you have mobility impairments, a different approach to the beach might be necessary. While we all want time in the lake to cool down, she does have rip currents. Be aware so you don't accidentally find yourself swept out. And wait a minute, there's a dog beach? And I missed it? The beach stretches from tip to tail of the park for the most part. If you want some space away from others and still have a dip, you should be able to get that here. With Lake Michigan currently experiencing some of the highest water levels in quite some time, the beach can feel a little tight between the dunes and the water. But from what I've heard, the lake has a nice sandy bottom here, good for your feet. If you are from northeast Wisconsin, you know Lake Michigan, along with the Niagara Escarpment, has given us more rocky beaches than sandy ones, or so it seems. There are 7 shipwrecks off the shore of Point Beach. For instance, in 1887, the Vernon wrecked in 205 feet of water. The ship is still upright and intact. In 1904, the Continental wrecked in 15 feet of water. And in 1912, the Rouse Simmons, filled with Christmas trees, wrecked on its way to Chicago. Back on land, the dunes along the beach can be steep and represent part of the ecosystem along the shore. This is what they call the active dunes. Here, plants along the shore catch the blowing sand and eventually build up into large dunes. Inland a little bit, the sand dunes have mature trees and bottom growth, in turn making this area the stabilized dunes. Then, further in yet, you will find the forested ridges and wetland swales. In this area, each forested ridge was once an active sand dune, and each swale was part of Lake Michigan. To get from the beach back to the forested part of the park, we'll go by the historic Lighthouse. The first lighthouse built in this area was erected in 1853, which was only temporary. It was replaced in 1873 by a wood lighthouse, which they didn't put in the right spot, so it had to be demolished and rebuilt again. This time, it was done in brick. The current lighthouse was placed in 1893. It originally was part of a French exhibit at the Chicago World's Fair, and at 113 feet, it is the tallest octagonal skeletal light tower on the Great Lakes. And now, it's trail time! My cameras ended up being low on batteries this day, so I only had the Ridges Trail to show off. Here is where you can see the forested ridges and swales described earlier. Animals of all kinds can and will make appearances. I saw squirrels, tiny toads, a crane, and evidence of deer. But pack your bug spray. With the wetlands, you'll need protection from the mosquitoes. My experience on the trail was excellent. The non-gravel sections were not difficult to traverse, and the gravel parts were maintained excellently. At the end, there was a little bit of flooding, but isn't that what we should expect out of swampy, marshy areas? There's a lot to do here with miles of beach, Lake Michigan to swim, dive, or kayak, camping, or just connecting with nature. You'll disconnect a little from the modern world when visiting, as cell service can be tough to get, but why bother when it's so beautiful? Take advantage of an opportunity to see Point Beach State Forest while you are getting out and traveling Wisconsin.